Okay, we'll need a drummer and a harp player and a clicker for this. Volunteers? Okay. Yeah, that would remove it, yes. Right side. Go ahead and try one. And we usually start this guy around a month, but it's a weeknight. And I was going to say a few words about Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, there we go. Bhakti Vinod Thakur was born in the British Raj in the early 1800s in India, and he grew up in a village where his father and mother were both from very wealthy families in this small village. And so he had a prosperous childhood and comfortable and full of joy. And when he was in his early teens, he married, as was the custom of that time, and went off to school in a nearby town, because the smaller town in which he lived did not have a higher education. So while he was away at school, plague came in, a cholera epidemic, and all of his siblings and his father died, and a good deal of the village died. And in the course of this catastrophe, they also lost all of their wealth. So he found himself about 15 or 16 years old, penniless, father of a child, and responsible to support his elderly mother. His mother had always said amongst all of her children, he was the ugliest. And somehow he survived. And so he had to forego his education and begin working. He took a job as a teacher at first, and gradually, through his own personal grit and ability, worked up through the government agencies, working for a while as a tax collector, and later in the government positions, all the way up to the role of being a magistrate. A magistrate is a combination of mayor and judge. And so in the British government, one Indian citizen could be a magistrate for a particular jurisdiction. In the course of these years, though, as he was developing his career, he fathered many children and pursued his passion for philosophy by studying the popular teachings of the day. At that time, the British Raj, everything Indian was bad, everything British was good. So the theology of Christianity was introduced, and some hybrids between Hinduism and Christianity, such as theosophy. And he studied and became very learned in all of these disciplines, but did not find satisfaction in any of them. So it was not until he was in his late 20s that he discovered that the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually encapsulated the philosophical, the comprehensive philosophical views that he was seeking. Now at that time, the followers of Chaitanya were considered to be sentimentalists. They're considered to be very immoral. Everyone in society looked down on them. So he naturally not pursued investigating what Chaitanya actually taught. But when he did discover that what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was teaching brought a synthesis not only of Christianity, Hinduism, but all of the theological and philosophical questions that plagued him, he was just astonished. He was even more astonished to find out he could not get books about Chaitanya, such as Chaitanya Charitamrita. They were just no longer available. Only with great difficulty did he uncover some of them. That was the degree to which the Sankirtan movement had become covered at that time. It was only kept alive by a few monks, or Babajis. And the Babajis would chant the Hare Krishna mantra all day, but they would not teach others. Now, that's their vow. And he befriended some of these Babajis, was inspired by them, and then with his own administrative skill, began the mission of sharing Chaitanya's teachings authentically on a wide scale. That was the cause to which he dedicated the rest of his life. So in the course of those years, he wrote 100 books outlining the philosophy of Chaitanya Vaishnavism. He wrote these very creative books, song books, such as Kalyani Kalpaturu, Gitavali, and the Sharanagati. these books are written from a perspective that I find so relevant as a family man. The kind of experiences he had, the kind of problems he encountered, and how he addressed them spiritually are all encapsulated in many of these songs. So I picked out a couple of them tonight to share with you. Srila Prabhupada said that these bhajans, Bhakti Vinod Thakur and Narottam Das Thakur, could be sung in any language. So the original Bengali texts written by these great acharyas have the potency to affect the heart, even if we don't understand the language. And yet most of us want to also have some idea of what it is that we're singing. So that's the purpose of the projects that Srila Krishna and I have worked with, bringing some of these books into a contemporary, perhaps more relatable presentation for our time and place. So that's what we'll try out with you tonight, see what you think. This first song is all about householder anxiety. Anyone have anxieties? Okay, all right, it's irrelevant. We have a madanga player. Oh, okay. This is a 2-beat. Oh, I'm sorry, no, this is a regular beat. I'm not doing wrong. Daraputra nija deha kutumba palane Sarvada vyakula ami chinu mane mane
Daraputra nija deha kutumba palane Sarvada vyakula ami chinu mane mane.
This is our clicker. Anxious thoughts of body, wife, and children vex my brain. How will all my many family members be maintained?
Anxious thoughts of body, wife, and children vex my brain. How will all my many family members be maintained?
Demaneya jiva arta yasha kisha bhava Putra vivaha kimane samapariva
Demane ajiva artaya sakishe bhava Kanya putra vivaha kimane sampariva.
How will I earn money and become a famous man? How will all my sons and daughters' marriages be planned?
How will I earn money and become a famous man? How will all my sons and daughters' marriages be planned?
Ede atma samarpane chintana hiyara Tune nirvahive prabhu samsara tomara
Ede atma samarpane chintana hiyara Tumi nirvahive prabhu samsara tomara.
Giving myself up to you, these worries come no more. Surely you'll maintain your household perfectly, O Lord.
Giving myself up to you, these worries come no more. Surely you will make your household perfectly, O Lord.
Tu me kavali more nija dasa jani. Tomara sevaya Prabhupada sukhamani.
Tumi tabali pe more nija dasa jani. Tomara sevaya Prabhupada sukhamani.
Surely, Lord, you will protect a servitor like me, one who knows your service as the greatest ecstasy.
Surely, Lord, you will protect a servitor like me, one who knows your service
Satyanaya.
Tomara ichaya prabhu sabha karyahaya. Jiva bhare kariyami seda satyanaya.
Anything that happens, happens as desired by you. Foolish jivas think I do it, all that is not true.
Anything that happens, happens as desired by you. Foolish jivas think I do it, all that is not true.
Jiva ki karite pare chune na karire. Ashamatra jiva kare tama isha kare.
Jiva ki karite kare chumi na karire. Asha matra jiva kare tava icha kare.
What desires can the jiva fill if you don't act? Only things that you desire manifest in fact.
What desire can the jiva feel if you don't act? Only things that you desire manifest in fact.
Nischintya hayya ami seviya tomaya. Sride phala manda halle nahi moradaya.
Nishita hayami sevi bhato maya. Devala manda hale nahi moradaya.
This household is your, not my responsibility. I will serve through good or bad without anxiety.
This household is your and my responsibility. I will serve through good or bad without anxiety.
Bhakti Vinod Nija Swatantra Kriya. Tomara Charana Sevi Akinchana Hoya.
Bhakti Vinod Nija Swatantra Tomara charana seve akinchana hoya.
Bhakti Vinod serves your feet and it's his view of being independent in a life detached from you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
So here's the cure for anxiety, according to Bhakti Vinod Thakur. He was very anxious until he realized that who is the doer? Krishna is the doer. When we let go of that false idea that everything is depending on us, then we can relieve the sense of responsibility that comes with that and the anxiety due to our inevitable inability to adjust the situation according to our desires. In other words, there is a nice expression in the Srimad Bhagavatam, when you feel trust in Krishna, you can run with your eyes closed, without fear of falling down. That's where we want to get to. It's like driving from here to Chicago. You know, you are on the highway, you're not in Chicago, but you see the signs. Chicago's so many miles ahead. So we're on the road. It's just important to understand clearly what is our destination. Because just imagine if we were fully trusting Krishna, how would our lives be different? This is what Bhakti Vinod is describing so nicely. I no longer think this is my house. It's your house. I no longer think I'm responsible to maintain it. You're responsible to maintain it. But I'm here to serve you in that regard. I'm here to serve you because it's your house and it's your responsibility, and I want to take responsibility to help you. With that different perspective, there's built-in detachment, isn't there? Automatically, we don't think of ourselves as being under the gun to do everything. So Krishna will put us through extremely difficult tests to see how deeply we believe and we are convinced that he's the controller and he's the owner and he's our friend also. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva lokam maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam yathamam shantim rajtati. He says that one who knows me as the supreme proprietor, the supreme benefactor of all sacrifices, and also the supreme friend, becomes peaceful in this world and becomes free of anxiety. So I think most of us here understand this philosophically. What are some of the challenges that we face in trying to internalize this very simple understanding, God-conscious understanding? Any thoughts? Anyone like to share any obstacles?
So in one of your slides, you had that, all this house and my family is your responsibility, not mine. I guess that is also one of the challenges, which is our responsibility. And it is somewhat our responsibility, but at the same time, we have some expectation that this should be met at this level. This is my expectation.
Right. Perhaps the word is entitlement, in the sense that we're entitled. If we work hard, we're entitled to a good life, problem-free. And Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's son, said, one who walks the path of God will find it is strewn with thorns. So the difficulties continue to come, but there's meaning behind difficulties when we are doing everything for Krishna. What is that meaning? That meaning is that we are becoming more deeply convinced that this world is not our home. However nicely we do and organize everything in this world, it's not really where we belong. And it's not really where we're ever going to find some lasting satisfaction and happiness. So the idea of working and being responsible is there, but we have to work as if everything depends on us, and then pray as if everything depends on Krishna. So when those two understandings are in place, then the anxiety level goes down. We understand that we're going to work hard. We don't see Arjuna kicking back and checking his Facebook. He was fighting. Krishna was telling him, fight, fight, fight. He had to keep every day. The Gita is spoken on day one of the battle. But every day, we read it in the Mahabharata, every day Krishna had to keep pushing. Go out there and fight. Come on, you're not trying hard enough. And in this sense, we can push ourselves. And we can feel the urgency and the importance of the responsibilities that we have. And at the same time, we know that ultimately, because we're doing it for Krishna, Krishna will put us through whatever we need to go through. Whatever we need to go through to become detached, to make this lifetime our last lifetime in this world, Krishna will do that for us. Any other thoughts?
Health conditions like
health conditions? Big, yes. Constantly. Janma mritu jara vyadi. Dukkha doshana darshana. That one who sees the inevitable miseries of life is knowledgeable, is wise. That we try to fight them, and yet they will always manifest according to Krishna's desire.
We know that Krishna will protect us in ways that we don't want, and therefore we know that if we surrender, there will be some sort of material suffering associated with it, accepting that that's part of the purificatory process. And we're not willing to accept that material suffering in order to be purified.
Krishna is helping us in that way.
I think we get consumed by the emotion of the moment. We are not able to tolerate that distress and forget that Krishna is the child.
Yes, we forget. That's the problem. Yes.
What would others think? What would others think?
What will others think? Yes. Unless my life looks really good, people will think ill of me. Krishna Swami?
one thing is, yes, there are material anxieties,
While there are material anxieties, also when we are progressing in our devotional path, there is anxieties, spiritual anxieties also. For example, when we are chanting, we are our mind gets deviated, so there is anxiety. Of late, very recently, during one of my classes, and we were discussing and came to know that most probably we are thinking that we are chanting. So that newer concept comes here also. While it's actually the sanction of the Supreme Lord that we are able to chant.
Allowing us to chant. Yes, and all we need to do is go along for the ride. Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Nice to see you.
So, the common question that's being asked is, once you accept the Lord and surrender to Him and carry out your duties, like you said, to the best of your abilities, and then setbacks happen, and let's say somebody's passing on to you for no reason, things like that. Should we look at that person as an instrument for us to learn something, but at the same time, you have an obligation to act and protect and do things that you have to do to protect yourself from that person? How do we balance those two?
Yes, we have to consider, is this person's attack on me actually physically threatening me or loved ones, or is it just threatening my false ego? In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in the Uddhava Gita, Uddhava asked Krishna this very same question: what should we do when somebody is being critical of us? And so to explain, Krishna tells the story of the Avanti Brahmin. And this is the Avanti Brahmin was a big shot, big Brahmin, wealthy, and lorded it over everybody in the village. Until somehow he lost his wealth, and when he lost his wealth, his family rejected him because he was so obnoxious, and he ended up being a beggar in the street. But in the course of that loss, he became enlightened. And so people were so happy to abuse him, who had abused them before. He'd be there with his begging bowl, if something was in it, they would take it and run. Or sometimes they'd take the bowl itself. Sometimes they'd stand behind him and urinate on him. Sometimes they would spit on him. And as he's going through all of these things, he reflects, it's not these people who are the cause of my suffering, nor is it the stars, nor the demigods, nor karma, nor time. The only thing that's causing my suffering from these events is my mind. It is the way I am interpreting the stimulation that is coming through me. And with that realization, he rose above even these horrific abuses he was going through. And again, these abuses turned into great assets for him to deepen the spiritual realization.
So, having stated that, does it mean we should be patient and tolerant?
Unless it's actually going to hurt, especially if it's going to hurt another person or particularly another Vaishnava. If somebody is critical of another Vaishnava, we have to act. We can act in three ways. We can leave, or we can defeat the argument. We could also cut out the tongue with that. So, at a minimum, we want to leave. You know, have you ever been in a conversation and somebody starts criticizing another devotee? That doesn't happen in Columbus, I guess. Why are you laughing? So, when that happens, it's very important to respond properly. And one thing to do is to defeat my superior arguments. So, for example, if someone is being critical, then you can respond by saying something nice about that person. You can even do a little jujitsu and lie a little bit and say, it's funny, you're saying this about him, but he was saying such nice things about you. But if you can't stop, it's very important not to stay and listen. Out of some misplaced sense of social propriety, okay, well, I should be polite and listen. If you listen, then we're taking part in the offense. So then we have to just excuse ourselves. Okay. But if it's criticism against us, the defending propensity is even more strong than the mating propensity, Prabhupada said. So the defending propensity is you insult me, then I insult you. So that's what we want to try to go beyond. Just recognize there's really no threat to me, it's just my sense of self is being attacked, my false sense of self, my prestige. And that can be a great way that Krishna does surgery on us, particularly for men. Krishna helps us recognize that our position is not so great. Srila Prabhupada once received a letter from a disciple. He began in the usual obsequious way. My dear Srila Prabhupada, I'm the most insignificant fallen disciple. Please accept my obeisances. I have a big, big problem. And Prabhupada was laughing about that. He's a significant boy, but he has a big problem. So we tend to think a lot about ourselves. To actually be humble goes beyond just a superficial understanding. Is to recognize if somebody is being critical of me, Krishna is arranging this. If there's actually no threat, then I remember I was upset with one of our GBC members once about a certain issue. And so I was asking him, how could you do this? And he was very, very nice, sannyasi. And he just, when he saw I had a lot of feeling about it, just like this. I was appreciating that. And then I was able to express. So being able to take criticism. And then also being able to listen. And to maybe hear that in this criticism, maybe there's a kernel of truth, maybe something I can learn from. All right, Eddie? Yeah, yes.
In relation to service, I've heard Krishna says that I feel like it's easy to understand that Krishna is the supreme doer and proprietor, but him being the supreme enjoyer, I find it hard to understand that relation. Like, how is it like you're serving for Krishna's pleasure and not ours?
Right, and how does Krishna get pleasure when we're put into difficulty? Is he sadistic? This is what it means to trust that God is not our enemy, nor is he upset with us and wanting to punish us. He's trying to help us because we are very attached. These attachments, as being human beings, we want it both ways. We want Krishna and we want our attachments to come along for the ride. And Krishna will not allow that, because if we take our attachments with us to the big party in the spiritual world, we're just going to be on the mental platform. Do I really want to be here or not? And who likes to invite someone to a party who's not sure they really want to be there? Right? So he cuts away those attachments, and that's painful. So the trust comes in when we know Krishna's doing this for a reason. I may not even know it, and I may not know it for several years, but eventually I'll see how this is for my good. Because I trust Krishna, however difficult it might be. Is this addressing your question? Okay, good. Please help me.
Yeah, it just struggling to understand that it's not for my pleasure, but Krishna's pleasure.
Yeah, Krishna is taking pleasure in helping us come closer to him. Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana. When we hear and chant Krishna in the heart, it helps become purified.
It reminds me of a saying, at least in America, is that this hurts me more than it hurts you.
Yes, that's a parental mantra, isn't it?
Yeah.
This hurts me more than it hurts you.
Before the beating.
Yeah, before the beating. But you see, it doesn't really hurt Krishna. It doesn't. He's not feeling any conflict within himself at all when he's administering these helpful surgeries to us. No. He's not. He's taking pleasure because he knows, however circuitously, we're coming closer to him. And when we go through traumas that really touch us deeply, then we know that this purification is taking place. The beauty of that trauma is that once we go through it, we're kind of immunized against that particular attachment for the rest of our lives. So at the end of this struggle or trauma or difficulty, we all know that the pain is going to go away at some point. And when it does, then we're immune now. We've gotten that much closer to Krishna. So Krishna is taking pleasure. Yes, come on, come on. Okay, let me, Manisha, go ahead.
Yeah, when we have anxiety or suffering, right? We often say, okay, it's because of my past karma, right? Or we ask anyone, they say, okay, it's because of your past karma, right? You have to deal with it. So is that always true, or there is another way to look at it?
It's true for the non-devotee. For the devotee, it's different. It's Krishna karma. Everything that happens to a devotee. Once we say one time, Krishna, take me on yours. Let's all say it. Krishna, take me on yours. From that point forward, Krishna is controlling everything. Even if we change our mind later on. So everything is happening for the non-devotee by karma. Just like for animals. Animals are just completely living out their karma directed by the super soul. You know, do this, do this, do this. For human beings, we have this option to challenge our senses and our minds. And then if we turn to Krishna, then we know everything is happening by Krishna's arrangement. Okay, so this is really important. At the same time, we understand that we have a disease, we have an illness, we have attachments. So we are also taking responsibility for that. When Jayananda Prabhu was diagnosed with cancer, leukemia he told one of his godbrothers that, yes, I need these potent reminders from Krishna. That was how he responded in such a transcendental way. And he had insurance money for treatment, and he took that insurance money and he bought a load of lumber and put it in the temple parking lot in Los Angeles. They were going to do a Rath Yatra the following year, but he knew he wasn't going to be around to see it, so he had the lumber, and now they were forced to do it this year so they could use the parking. So, Ranship, last point, and then we'll move on.
Yes, so you made the point about, and sort of this question about learning from criticism. How do we know when some criticism is just people, like crazy people just saying crazy stuff? And how do you know when some criticism is truth to some criticism? Or do you just assume there's always truth because it's Krishna sending it? Or
We can be a little dynamic, or we don't have to be passive, in other words, and just take it. We could express to the person, I'm hearing you say this, here are my feelings. And then, according to how the person responds, we'll understand if it was somebody who actually cares about us or somebody who's just getting off some steam on at our expense. So if we say to somebody, when you say that, I feel this way, I feel uncomfortable, they might say, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel that way. Then you know this is a person in whom you can confide. But if they say, you have no right to feel that way, then we understand they don't care about how we feel. Then we can respect them, but from a distance. Guyam akyati prichyati, to reveal our minds in confidence, should be done with people who value our emotional and care about our emotional reactions and thoughts. Okay? Then if we can take instruction, even from people who might not at first think have our welfare in mind, that will be very good for us. Remember Chanakya's definition of a learned person, right? A learned person can take good instruction even from an obscure source. Learned person can take gold even from a garbage heap. Yeah. Okay? All right. Oh, no, please go ahead.
Anxiety can also be because you think there's a long way to go in spiritual life and you have not yet done anything, and still a lot of anarthas in the heart and still not surrender to Krishna. So that kind of anxiety is
spiritual anxiety, like this is what Krishna was saying. Spiritual anxiety is really good for our growth. And we take anxiety for service, for example. That's a great benefit. And we are progressing rapidly when we accept some anxiety for Krishna. Bhakti Vinod says that troubles I take at your service are my greatest joy. Okay, we'll talk more about that. Let's do this next bhajan. After anxiety comes a little respite, a little happiness. Can you see all right? Yeah, okay. This is a 2-beat. Atmani Vedana Tuya Pade Kari Anu Paramasuki.
Atmani Vedana Tuya Pade Kari Anu Paramasuki.
Kadure Gila Chitana Rahila Charike Ananda De. Sheltering at your feet, I have discovered a peace that surpasses all boundaries.
Sheltering at your feet, I have discovered a peace that surpasses all boundaries.
All my distresses and worries are gone as Ananda appears all around me.
All my distresses and worries are gone as appears all around me.
Ashoka Apaya Amrita Adara Maracharana Kaya.
Ashoka Abhaya Amrita Adara Kumara Charana Dvara.
Ahate Ekana Vishrama Labhiya Adinu Bhavera Bhaya.
Ahate Ekana Vishrama Labhiya Chadinu Bhavera Bhaya.
Your lotus feet bestow undying courage and happiness vast as an ocean.
Your lotus feet bestow undying courage and happiness vast as an ocean.
In your shelter, I'm no longer fearful of birth and death's endless corrosion.
Taking your shelter, I'm no longer fearful of birth and death's endless corrosion.
Omara samsare kariba sevana kahiba kalira bhagi.
Kumara samsare kariba sevana kariba kalera bhagi.
Avasuka jahe kariba jatana aye pade anuragi.
Avasukaya he kariba yatana hare pade anuragi.
I shall be happy to serve in your household and not claim the fruits of my service.
I shall be happy to serve in your household and not gain the fruits of my service.
I shall just be at your soft lotus feet, always trying to serve you in earnest.
I shall just be at your soft lotus feet, always trying to serve you in
Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. This is so important to understand. God is the supreme enjoyer, and He doesn't do anything but enjoy. That's all He does, all day long, all the time, forever. This is the foundational understanding of theology. You're going to be a theist. You first have to understand God is just enjoy. He's not busy condemning people to hell. He's not fretting over this decision or that decision. He's just having a great time. All the time. And He creates every one of us to bring Him pleasure in a unique way. Self-realization means to find out what is that unique way that we bring Krishna pleasure. That's all. Why is that? Why do we want to bring Krishna pleasure? Why don't we want to bring ourselves pleasure? Because when we bring Krishna pleasure, we enjoy pleasure on a higher platform. Srila Prabhupada was once asked by a reporter, "Why have you come here?" He said, "I've come here to teach you how to enjoy." You think you know how to enjoy, but you do not know how to enjoy. So the devotee pleases Krishna, and Krishna is so pleased with that devotee that he makes the devotee feel ecstatic and happy. And when the devotee feels happy, what does the devotee want to do? Serve more. I want to do more. It's just like that's Anandamaya Vyasat. Our nature is seeking pleasure. So when we get pleasure serving Krishna, Krishna reciprocates. We want to get more of that pleasure. So this is called Nitya Yukta Upasate, the eternal, loving dance between the soul and God. Giving pleasure, receiving pleasure, giving more pleasure, receiving more pleasure, like this. This is the destination in our practice of bhakti. And when we're going slogging through those rounds, we need to remember this. Krishna enjoys hearing His name chanted. And even if we may not be enjoying it, He's enjoying it. He loves to hear His name chanted, and He's not ashamed to admit it. You know, we all like to hear our name. It's the sweetest sound in any language. Everybody, the sound of our own name. That's because Krishna enjoys hearing His name also. So we're chanting to bring pleasure to Krishna, not to purify ourselves. That's incidental. We're chanting just to bring pleasure to Krishna. And however poorly we may be chanting, you know, that we just want to chant better because we get more pleasure from chanting when we are chanting well. But whether we are or aren't getting pleasure, we chant anyway. And that helps us show Krishna that we mean business. This is the most important thing in my life, coming to this point of eternal loving exchange with you. And then Ananda surrounds us, and we're swimming in oceans of bliss in our own home. Can you imagine? Any reflections on this bhajan?
So, you mentioned that when you serve and Krishna is pleased, you want to serve more. But I don't know how often that is the case. Does it? So, like for example, you serve, but after that you're like, okay, this is over. Now let me take a break, or okay, it's time for me to relax. So, does it mean that Krishna is not pleased with that service?
No, because taking a break is part of serving Krishna. You can take a break for Krishna. It's okay. He's not the slave driver. Yukta hara viharasya, yukta chetasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkha. In the 6th chapter on yoga, Krishna says that one who is temperate, regulated, moderate, balanced in eating, sleeping, work, and recreation can conquer all miseries by practicing the yoga system. Part of this is just self-acceptance, that we may have a mental concept that we're going to be intense devotees, but then we get burned out. Better to be able to give our full attention and heart to our service. even if we have to take some break in between. You see? That's who we are, and that's fine. Krishna's not put off by that. Take a break in any variety of ways, whatever relaxes us, as long as it's within the 4 regulator principles.
So my mind forgets all my previous history. So when would somebody achieve really that point? Like most of the time when we are chanting japa, we are always thinking about previous history that has not been like very nice, or we are like guilty about what we did in the past that was not really Krishna conscious.
Mhm.
That's where we dwell in the mind.
Right. Just wait for Alzheimer's. So the Bhagavad Gita describes how these 3 modes of nature, tamas, rajas, and sattva, are always affecting us, and they're always competing for supremacy. So their effects are manifested in these ways. When we are thinking about the past, what mode is that? That's the mode of ignorance, yes. We're looking back, and we're still suffering the pains of things that are long gone and have no more reality or existence except in our mind. Okay? So if we're feeling bad about our past mistakes, then we're in the mode of ignorance. If we're anxious about the future, what mode is that? Passion, yeah. So then we're looking ahead, and what about this, what about this, instead of being present in the moment. So the mode of goodness is to be present in the moment, particularly when we're chanting. And it's understood that our minds are going to go this way and that way. Just keep bringing them back, and bring them back with affection and kindness, not with, my darn mind. Just, hey, come on, my dear mind, come on back. Just like a little child, come back. And we present ourselves to Krishna in this way. Here I am, I'm chanting with my crippled mind. Anyway, here I am, please take me. My mind is so unsteady and so influenced by the modes. So Bhakti Vinod in his ecstasy is saying, wow, I'm no longer thinking about my past. And that's the beauty of practicing chanting, that the influence of passion and ignorance subsides. Tada rajas tamo bhava, kama lobha yaschayati. As the influence of passion and ignorance recedes, then the effects, such as greed or lamentation or hankering, also recede. And sthitvam sattve prasidati, one becomes situated in goodness. And then, evam prasanna manaso, when the mind is fixed in goodness, bhagavad bhakti yogata, bhagavad vijnana mukta sangasya jayati, then we can go to the platform of nitya yukta upasate, of serving Krishna with attention, with focus, with gratitude. It's like going to the airport. If we want to fly somewhere, we have to go to the airport. So the airport is like the mode of goodness. But if you just stay at the airport, then you don't go to your destination. So the airport is just a place that you have the opportunity to get on the plane and travel. So if we just try to keep hearing the mantra, the effects of passion and ignorance recede. I've been finding it lately a helpful meditation as I'm chanting my wonders here and there to whatever subject. Then I ask myself, especially as you're getting older, that gets easier, is that really going to be important to me when I'm dying? Is this going to be important, or is this going to be important? And that's it, the japa wins every time. When we're dying, everything that we knew and everything we experienced, everything that we have, all one by one we lose. We lose control, we lose possession, lose. And that's why people are terrified of dying. That's all we know. As devotee, we've been practicing for that our whole life, and we are preparing. So as devotees leave their bodies, they become very peaceful and joyful. It's amazing. Even the medical professionals are amazed. The devotees are in their ICU or their hospice, and all the devotees come in around them and they're singing, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. That's not the usual state of affairs. So we're just practicing and preparing. All right. That word literally, itihasa, means history. Right? Okay. All right, anything else on Ananda? Yes.
I just wanted to say to Gurudev that happiness might not be the way we thought of what was happy.
Yeah.
Meaning we may not have the external situation all sorted out. Sometimes we think when this situation is sorted out, then I'll be happy. Well, that situation may never get sorted out.
Yes.
But remembrance of Krishna, and it gives a particular solace and a different kind of happiness. So sometimes I've experienced in my own life that even in periods where people are saying there's nothing to be happy about, you're internally calm and
Because what do I expect in this world? Yes, and Krishna is, service to Krishna is always accessible, even if the material situation is unwanted. Yeah.
I'll ask you, what is the lesson that Krishna wants me to learn? That goes into more of curiosity rather than why am I in this situation?
Yes.
Getting out of this.
Has anyone read Vaisheshika Prabhu's wonderful book, The 4 Questions? Anybody? Yeah, I really strongly advise you to get a case of those books and pass them around. They're so good. So one of the 4 questions is, what is the lesson? First question, what is my purpose? Second question, how can I serve? Third question, what is the lesson? And the 4th question, where's my attention right now? Very nice one. Okay. Anything else? Yes, Prabhu?
Thank you for singing such a beautiful song. Really made a positive vibe over here. Thank you. I have one question that in the first song, it was mentioned that you should keep trust in God blindly, means whatever everything happens, just think that He is doing for us, not to think much about that, just He is doing it. But in second question, it also mentioned that whatever happens, we should always be near the lotus feet of the God. But suppose if a person is following in God and doing everything which he can and in all possible ways, means the God is doing that thing from him. Okay. Then, but we also have shastras. Okay, and what if he doesn't know any shastra or not doing any shastra, but still he has the same love towards God? And God will differ in his devotee that if a person doesn't know any shastra, but he's still going to, and the person who is following every shastra, so will he be comparable? And third thing, if not, then what's the importance? I know means shastra.
What is the importance of shastra?
Yeah, it should be for doing means all good things.
Yes.
And then what is the main thing?
It said that if your knowledge of Shastra does not bring you love of God, then what is the use of your Shastra? And on the other hand, if you have love of God, what is the need for your Shastra? So, if your Shastra is not bringing you love of God, what is the use of the Shastra? Or if you have love of God, what is the need of the Shastra? You see? So the point is, the goal is love of God, and Shastra can help us. The question you asked, it just exactly addresses this pastime of Krishna and the wives of the Brahmins. Krishna was hungry, he sent the boys to the Brahmins to beg for food. The Brahmins were busy with their rituals and they said, go away. And the boys went back, Krishna, I'm sorry, don't worry, beggars often come back disappointed. Go ask their wives. When you ask the wives, oh, Krishna's hungry, let me bring some prasadam immediately. They all came running with all the prasadam. And then they didn't want to leave. So Krishna said, no, you have to do your duties, go to your husbands, even if they're not the best, you stay with them. So they went back, and then when the Brahmins saw this, they were cursing their rituals. To hell with these rituals. Are we doing all these rituals and we have no love for Krishna, and our wives have so much ecstatic love for Krishna? So this is the goal, has to be understood. Just to go through the motions is not it doesn't bring us any benefit. The Shastra can help us, the rituals can help us, but only if we know the purpose behind them. That we're doing this to try to please Krishna. And Krishna is much more pleased with a humble offering of love than with a fancy show of ritualistic perfection. Okay. All right. I see Prasadam is here. I just want to ask you a question. I have one more bhajan. It's about 10 minutes. Should we do this? Okay. All right. So this one, very nice if we can, this is a very meditative one, very deep one. I don't know if it's possible that it's safe to turn out the lights, maybe at least on this half of the room. Is it possible?
Yeah. No, this is not.
Okay.
It's there on the, yeah.
Okay, as many lights as we can tolerate being off, please turn them on. Okay. All right. So, please back up one slide. This is Gopinath. So. Yeah, this is sung in unison, so we all sing together. Gopinath, would you be so kind to hear me? Desires make my mind wicked all the time, with not one virtue to endear me. I have no one else to turn to. Your true soft lotus feet are my sanctuary. Please allow me just to serve you. What can ever purify me? Devotion has escaped my manipulation. Worldly life now horrifies me. Everything you do, wisdom comes from the as my body falls to desire. Someone play cartels, please. Relief weeping, comes the sinner pleading for your precious gift of mercy. Your power can deliver all the worst offenders. What offender can exceed me? Let me pause here. Mercy of mercy. This world is very cruel, yet you come for us fools as your path and keeping green. Beasts and things have attended to your feet. Bhakti Vinod That's better rhythm. There's a little pause every time we say Gopinath. Don't rush into the next line. Gopinath, please remove this worldly agony. My hurts. How can I endure the births and death strung out before me? Glory now. 2, 3, 4, 1. I must serve and love desire. Intense lusty cravings in my heart awakens, squeezing tight the noose of Maya. Glory now. 2, 3, 4, 1. When will I become this ignorance? This lost my enemy. I am lost believing. Fix my heart for your appearance. Glory now. I am meant to serve as your son. I have forsaken you, worshiping illusion. I forgot my rightful portion. Glory now. You of course understand everything. You believe every man. Your adventure man now, gladly placing at your Lord's feet. Glory now. This is truly your decision. Will you now desert me without one drop of compassion? Glory now. Such a stupid fool have I been. What truly benefits I have yet to witness. Now I live in this condition. Glory now. Next to you, no one is wiser. A fool like me is blessed by your simple practices. Do not think me an outsider. Glory now. This infaming world defeats me. If you show causeless praise, if you tolerate me, your compassion will release me. Glory now. How my lazy mind disturbs me. It won't trust anyone. Uselessly it goes on in the cockpit of the world. Glory now. My little bit needs no explaining. All I have tried to do is completely useless. You're the only hope remaining. Glory now. How can I help advancement? My senses are
your love and appreciation for His Grace Kalakantha Prabhu by loudly saying, Hari Bol.